Entering the digital landscape can be overwhelming, but using technology is essential for business in today's market. And unfortunately, we can't turn to many women in that industry because there just aren't enough. Welcome to Woman2Woman today, where we talk with inspiring women who are helping other women reach their goals and are changing traditional industries and roles in a very positive way. I'm your host, Jen Maceda. On today's episode, we are speaking to two women who are changing the face of digital landscape in a very powerful way. Allison DiRienzo and Jen Whittemore are the founders of Wolfdog Marketing, an online marketing boutique that works for clients across a range of industries, delivering branding, design, and consulting services. Both Jen and Allison have an extensive background in business, working with Fortune 500 companies that have a global reach with hundreds and thousands of customers. They bring that knowledge and passion for helping business reach their own customers every day. Thank you for being with us.
We're so excited to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I'm really just touched that you came on this show because you are such rock stars in the digital landscape. So it's an honor to have you here. So this is one of the first times that we have had two people on the show, especially two that are so incredibly fabulous that actually work together in the same company. Share with me your background and how that came to pass that you've developed this new organization.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we work really well together because we have very separate skill sets. And my background being in branding, messaging, figuring out strategies that will work for customers meshes really nicely with Jen's, which is more creative and technical, and bring the two together. And we found out that we had these separate skill sets when we met at a kickboxing gym. I was actually the instructor, and Jen was taking a class of mine. We became friendly. I learned her story, and I was looking to do a project where I could think of the idea. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, but I couldn't execute it on my own. So I asked Jen if she wanted to help me bring it to life. So we worked on it together and just kind of snowballed from there. We got a lot of people that either saw the project or saw us working together and said, hey, I actually have a small to medium-sized business in Metro West. I would love your help as well. And it went from there, and we were really excited to see that we fill a niche for business owners in the area who want that Boston level thinking and strategy and digital output without the price of going into Boston. They can't afford that. And so we've been able to help businesses to do just that.
Yeah, so the quality of work that you do, I feel fortunate because I have a great deal of background knowledge about what it is that you do and the extents of design and technology, understanding, knowledge, and customer service based on what you create for others, so that they can have that customer service as well. But this piece of technology, Jen, you're the one that has that strong base in technology,
yes.
The digital landscape. You understand it, and then you put your headphones on and you get to work on it. So how did that come about?
So I like to say that I'm the nerd that can talk to people because a lot of people that do what I do can't do that. I didn't go to school for this, but I surrounded myself with people who were good at what they did, and I really immersed myself and found a passion for it. So I learned on my own how to code, I learned WordPress, I learned how to design, Photoshop, all that stuff. And I really think that I wish I knew about it. I would have went to school for it because I love it and I'm passionate about it. And that's what I think is interesting about what we do and how we come together. We don't do the same thing. So you either get someone who's like me, I can build it and make it look pretty, but I don't necessarily know how to write the content or have that, the beautiful messaging that Allison can do and come together in the branding. So that's really what put us apart. And when we started, really found that need for it in this area. So it's been exciting.
And I talk to a lot of people about Wolfdog Marketing all the time.
Thank you.
You very generously helped the Metro West Conference for Women, as well as this new entity that we're going to talk about later on in the show. And you have told me, and I've noticed myself, that there are not these collaborative One, that you're collaborating as women. I think that doesn't always happen in such a wonderful, supportive way. That's what this show, Woman2Woman, is all about, is modeling that behavior of supporting each other, right? And you are the epitome of supporting another woman, right? But also that collaboration of different skill sets and bringing that together. The marketplace just doesn't have something that is that comprehensive. Right. I mean, you distinguish yourself because of those two. It's not two skill sets, really. It's like 1,000.
It's like two sides.
It's like two sides of it.
It's really the full service digital agency that you typically see in big cities. That's really what we are bringing into the Metro West area. And we do service clients actually across the country. I mean, we have some clients that we talk to solely, over the phone. But what you typically see when, people have one skill set or deliver one aspect of digital marketing or digital branding is that they can execute a piece, and then you have to bring in other people who only know another piece and hope that there's synergy across. And something can get lost in translation, or the vision won't be executed fully. And that's really important for businesses, especially in the digital space where it's very crowded. There's a lot of competition. Your dollars have to work really, really hard. You want to make sure that your message is clear and the same across channels. And that's something that we can do because we oversee all of those different areas that businesses are pushing their way into online. So that is, I think, what definitely makes us unique and, offer something a little bit different.
Yeah, and very successful as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is good. This landscape, this digital landscape, it's changing every single day. So you mentioned that you support small business and medium-sized businesses, and you came from large businesses. So how is it different taking those strategies from big business and shifting it to small and medium business so that they are successful?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I worked at a big agency in the city, and I was always working with a manager who had really no connections. It was just the job for them, and there was really no passion there. I think that when we brought it down to this level and we're working with these small and medium-sized businesses, we get involved with the business owners. We really feel like we're a marketing team with them. We feel part of that company. A lot of the times we're there on their important kickoff meetings of the year. We're the ones that they want us to review everything that's going to be out there facing the market, because and that's really what we're passionate about, being able to be there and seeing that passion in the eyes. I think that's both of us at our big jobs before. I think we're starting to get a little bit burnt out because we didn't have that. So that's been exciting for us.
Yeah. Well, creating a new business is a little scary.
Definitely.
Right? So what was it about the transition that helped you? I mean, let's share that with our audience. How did you make that leap from big corporation to starting your own business?
I think that what we found at first was that there was a need. I mean, I think what is most scary is when you want to do something, but you don't know, are my services going to be needed? Do I offer something that people are going to want? And we don't necessarily do something that other people don't do, but nobody does it quite like us. And I think what we saw in talking to people about what we would offer and how we approach the process, they were really excited about it. So I think that was the first thing that made us feel really confident about taking the risk. We know that people are really interested in what we have to offer, and that they were excited that they could come to one shop and get all of those needs. So that was sort of our first hint that it was going to be great. And I think what we're doing is constantly evaluating and evolving what we're doing. Just like the digital space, we have to run our business that way too. So where we should be putting focus, where we should be leading and guiding our clients, all of that is kind of ever evolving. And the truth is we're very competitive. So I think in the way that we work together, we always want to be at the front, we want to be the best, we want to be leaders. So we're also constantly educating. I think that's a huge part of making sure that we're at the forefront of what's happening in digital, is that we're educated on what's happening in the digital space. So I think that's kind of what's made us really excited about taking the leap.
And keeping on that pulse of the technology.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you help each other? Let's say one of you has not such a, you have great days. Every day is a great day because you're alive. So
it's a beautiful
so
thing.
that's good.
Yeah.
But sometimes things drag us down a bit. It can't be perfect all the time. So how do you support each other in that way too, kind of lifting each other and
Yeah, I mean, I would go back to the competitiveness too. I think we always drive that out of each other. And it's also nice that, we're also best friends too. So I think that it's just the duo together. We're able to just work, and we know, what makes each other, upset, or can just be able to pull each other out of bad days and, focus on the business and get stuff done.
Yeah. Building on that too, sometimes it's just giving each other space. How I react to something that's upsetting me or frustrating me is different than how Jen reacts. So giving the person space to process it the way that they need to. So if I'm taking something personally and Jen is better letting it roll off her back and not be upset about it, then she'll just kind of let me be alone, maybe working kind of without conversation for a little while and just let me kind of process it, where she's able to kind of go back and move on to something else really quickly. She'll just let me have that. So I think it's knowing also when you work really closely with someone and your friends, recognizing that you have to let them process things, not try to change the way or force it. So when we're having a bad day, it's okay, you know what, I know that Allison needs space, whereas Jen might just need a distraction and need to move on. So it's kind of understanding that.
Yeah. And
angry music.
Yeah, that's good.
It's true.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Wolfdog Marketing's goals for the coming year, which is really exciting. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Hi, we're back with the team of Wolfdog Marketing, Jen and Allison. Tell us about the new technology that is really pushing the market.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, the big change was everything was going to be mobile. So if your website was not working on a phone, you were going to start getting penalized on Google. And that's when we saw a little bit of the fury, and it was great for us. But people were concerned about how their site was going to be ranking on Google. The algorithms already are so scary, and a lot of businesses, rely on being able to be found on the web. So that's been huge for us, because I think it's really great that Google is now focusing on the user. So it's all about the user experience instead of those pages that used to be so key-loaded and the content didn't make sense at all. It's based on beautiful photos, clear call to actions, getting the user to the place where it needs to be, and that end goal. So that's been really great, and for business as well as the experience and having people go online and find things better. So.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that. Is there something trending away from, because you're saying the customer experience? So is there a possibility that it will move away from mobile, or it's all going to go to mobile?
No, it's all going to go to mobile. We've seen now it's a 50-50 split, whether someone's on a phone or a computer. So it needs to look great on the phone, it needs to look great on a tablet, and it needs to look great on a desktop. So Google's really taking that into effect now. Okay.
And when you say it's got to look great, tell us about branding, because essentially that is your personal brand, it's your business brand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Building off what Jen said, it definitely starts with making sure that you're considering form and function. So what does it look like? How does it read? And then, of course, is it set up properly? And what we're finding a lot when we're talking with our clients is they want to figure out, how do they stand out online? How do they tell their story in a way that is, unique, and it's going to, whatever their product or service that they offer, people are going to be drawn to it. And we really believe in the golden rules, we call it. It's authenticity. You really need to find what is it that you do that is different than your competitors, because it's true to you. And that should come through across everything that you do. It should be your website, it should be your social media channels reflecting it, it should be all of your advertising efforts, should reflect your own voice, your own story. And when we find that businesses are trying to emulate somebody else or just kind of copy a strategy and a voice, that's where they fall down. It doesn't seem real. It kind of feels fake, and you're not really drawn to it. But when it's you and it's your story, the people that are right for it are going to come to it, and then they're going to tell others.
Yeah. So their content is authentic at the same time, and content by pictures, but a lot by, when you say tell the story, because we talk this kind of language quite a bit because we work on projects together, but it's what you're reading on the page. Is that right?
Absolutely. Or also in social channels, because now customers can really have a two-way conversation with businesses or brands, right? They can reach out directly, they expect answers, they can comment on content, whether it's on social or comment directly to the business owner on a website. So they're expecting that a person, whether it's the personality of the brand or an actual person, is responding. So when you talk about, telling your story, it's who are you? You know, what made you do what you do, your service, your product, and why would other people want to be drawn to that? So if 5 people do one thing, but what's unique about you is either how you got started, you know, it's that you were a small business and it was in the family. You know, some people might really have an affinity for family-owned businesses, so they're going to be drawn to you over somebody else. So taking advantage of that, making your story a differentiator, I think that's something that's really powerful.
It sounds like if you don't have a social mission, and you're just doing it for a financial gain, that you're differentiated in a negative way potentially. If you're not doing something one that you're really passionate about, and if you're not passionate about it, you can't tell that story of passion.
Yeah, I think that's really true. You think about it for yourself, right? If you are trying to find inspiration somewhere or even buy a service or a product and you kind of dive through their content or you're reading about them, you're reading reviews, and it feels forced or it feels like they're just kind of, you know, in it to turn a buck, you might not be as likely to want to give them a try or purchase from them. But if you are reading through reviews, you're reading people sharing about it, and they're just talking about the whole experience being really positive, you're much more likely to be drawn to that company or that brand. And it sounds, you know, kind of, you know, simple, but it's can be really difficult if you don't have it, you know, thought through. If you don't really say, okay, this is what our voice is going to be, this is who we are at the core, and so every decision we make is going to be put through that filter.
Yeah, so you have the consistency across.
Absolutely.
Across everything.
Really important.
Yeah. So you mentioned in the first segment that you work with small and large businesses, but can you tell us what your demographic is? Do you have a lot of women that are entrepreneurs that are coming to you for assistance? Is that your biggest client base? And what are the questions that they are asking, and how are they potentially different from a male entrepreneur? That was like 10 questions.
That was a bunch.
What's the first one?
That was a bunch of questions. I would say a large portion of our clients are definitely women, you know, whether they're sole entrepreneurs or, you know, they're part of a larger team. I would say it's not only women, but of course we do love working with women. And it's interesting, you had said earlier about how there aren't that many women in, you know, in the digital landscape or in technology, and it's a total disconnect because over half of the users online are women. So I think when our women clients are coming to us and looking to understand, okay, where do I start? What do I need to do? What should my progression be in terms of how to get my business either launched or relaunched online? We talk a lot about how we understand where they're coming from and we understand the customer. And that's a really big part of why we love helping women, is because we are very often the customer of the client that we're talking to. So we're able to put it through that lens and see where do we go to find information on whatever it is that they do, and what would we be looking for when we're there. So I think that's a big part of, you know, why we're drawn to women and why women are also drawn to us, because there's that mutual understanding. And I think Jen had said really nicely earlier that we're also part of their team. You know, we kind of become their digital arm. So they love that connection, and they're able to kind of put all those things through the filter we were talking about earlier.
And I think that women are more, they understand the authenticity of it. They, you know, I think men have the stodgy, the stock photos, the, you know, the strong red and the blue that can really like pigeonhole you into one thing, and I think women understand the value of having a strong brand and making sure that everything's consistent across and their story is really well done. I mean, we see in user testing that the first place people go to on a website is the story and the about page after the homepage, so that's really important, and I think that they get that and they know that they need to be, you know, resonant through the whole thing and the whole process.
Yeah. So insider information, I'm going to, you know, that here's what I know also from our conversations outside of this. There was a time when somebody asked you to come out and pitch a particular job to see if you could get the job, and the two of you walked in, and they were really surprised and were completely pleased with the product that you supported them with. But how many times you're called Wolfdog marketing? It's not necessarily the flowery and you know, fluffy way that some women present themselves in other businesses. But this is a, you know, a digital business, technology business. So share with us those experiences and how you've dealt with those.
Yeah, I think that the example you're talking about was kind of funny. They were expecting us to be men. I don't even think they really paid attention to the sign off in the email even probably. They just saw the name and thought we're a digital company, we're going to be men. And so they were like a little taken aback. I think so much so that they said it out loud, like, oh, you're women, which we thought was just kind of funny, and we laughed at it. And there isn't anything wrong with either end of the spectrum, of course, like you said before, in terms of like presenting yourself in a softer way that might be typically more, female, or in a way that is less female in the way that we do it. But what we love is that we're able to kind of marry the two together, is bring a softer approach sometimes in evaluating things, but our approach in everything is very strong. It's the Wolfdog name kind of symbolizes the fierce loyalty, competition, leader of the pack, and that's really how we see ourselves. And I think we quickly indoctrinate people to that when we meet them. So while they may have expected men, they're totally off of that subject, a few minutes into the conversation, and then blown away by the level of output, that we deliver. And we sometimes get into the conversation you were saying earlier, like, how did you get into this space? You don't see a lot of women in this space. So it is really interesting to see that conversation is also evolving too.
And you're changing people's perceptions
and
all
more
the time.
people are learning how to do it and getting interested in it, and that's a big thing, because even when I never even knew that you could go to school for what I do now, I can only imagine I would have gone into it a lot earlier, and I think more people would be too. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us what's happening next for Wolfdog marketing. What are you working on? What are your goals for the next year? And
kinds of exciting things. So we're working on a very exciting project with a very important person in the Metro West area.
Who's that?
I like to spend my time with Jens.
Yes, I know.
Another Jen.
Yes, that's right.
You're in a Jen
so if you're a
sandwich
Jen,
right now.
then
Yeah,
love it.
so we're really excited, I think, about taking our passion for telling stories online and connecting business owners, particularly women, and with their customers, to be able to find their inspiration and take their business to the next level. So I think we're really excited from a Wolfdog perspective and going into the venture that I'm sure you'll help enlighten everyone who's watching about. That's really going to create platforms where women can find inspiration with other business owners, where they can find the education to help them tell that story, so that they can be authentic and really feel confident about whatever it is that they want to do next, whether they're taking their business to the next level, or maybe they're transitioning from a career to a different career. So we're really excited about taking sort of our singular mission and linking it to a bigger mission. That's really, really what's driving us right now. And I think we're super excited about that.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. And then thank you for spending that time. The company, soon to be formed company. Actually, maybe we shouldn't share it yet. You know what? That's going to be a whole new. That's a teaser right there. Yeah. But essentially, it was created in the same way that you created Wolfdog Marketing, in that here was something that was really exciting within the Metro West region, the Metro West Conference for Women, bringing hundreds of women together. Proof of concept, right? So we definitely knew that there was a need.
Yes.
And so that's fueling us to create something that we can take across the country, that is that platform, with 3 distinct platforms within that full entity. So we'll have the conference, we'll have digital media, and then we'll be rebranding this television show. So that's an announcement today. Yeah. And it will be something that all women can access. And by access, we mean through their limited time, through their potentially limited funds. So it'll be an affordable and thirdly, authentic place that women can go and can share their products and services and their big ideas, because essentially that's why I'm here, and I'm really proud to be working with the two of you.
We're so grateful
in creating this new entity that I know will support so many other women across the country. So
and recognizing the local talent too.
Yes,
we're really excited about that, lifting up other women. I think that's something that for good or for bad, that the digital space allows us to do, is to connect in a much more real way. And so what we're really excited about is to use that for positive. How do we help other women to find what they need, find their resources to really be successful? And I think when you lift another woman up, it's a a giver's gain philosophy. It just comes back to you. So what you
Yes.
put out there, in the digital space in a positive way can just come back twofold.
That's right. And you certainly help a lot of women through as customers, but then you do a lot within the community. You're both in business networks. You both are mentoring me, so I know that you.
Likewise.
I know
Yes,
that you
sir.
mentor a lot of women, and you inspire a lot of women to go into your field, but also to start what they're passionate about, and that's a real gift. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Grateful. Very grateful.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here with us
Thank
today.
you
Thank you for having us.
Good, you guys are amazing. Thank you to Jen and Allison from Wolfdog Marketing. Please remember to follow, like, and subscribe to Woman2Woman Today on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube so you don't miss a show. Thanks to the entire team at Access Framingham, especially Shavarsh Morrissey. Thanks also to Jess Friswell, our assistant producer. I'm Jen Maseda, your host of Woman2Woman Today. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time, where we hope to inspire you.